Alrighty, we are moving into row 58. I do have my row 57 double crochet row here. And so what we're going to do is place 5 half double crochets to get started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now what we're going to be doing is a really easy repeat. Sorry, I had to get my yarn out from being stuck. So we're going to do a front post double crochet in this next stitch. We're going to yarn over. We're going to go to the side of the post, out the back, and come through to the other side. Our hook is going to be behind that post. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to do a back post double crochet. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go behind the stitch, bring our hook on the side of that post to the front, and we're going to go out the other side of that post. We're going to yarn over, pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And you're going to do that 94 more times by yourself, and you will have 6 stitches left. Okay, so I've come to the end here and I've got 6 stitches left. We're going to do a front post double crochet here, followed by 5 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you haven't already checked your stitch count, go ahead and do that and turn your work. All right, moving into row 59, we are going to place 5 half double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, my yarn keeps getting stuck. I'm so sorry. All right, so there's that 5th half double crochet. So now what we're going to do is yarn over and we're going to do a back post double crochet first. Okay. Followed by a front post double crochet around this front post double crochet. So you'll do that all the way to the end, and then I'll help you with the end. All right, so we're going to wrap up row 59 with a back post double crochet. Oh, I'm already onto the half double crochets. Okay, and then we're going to do 5 half double crochets here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now row 60 is going to be a repeat of row 58, and then you'll do row 61 and row 62 are also going to be a repeat of row 58 and 59. Okay, and so you should have 5 rows of back post double crochet and front post double crochets, and then we will turn our work and work along the buttonhole edge, and then we will be working on putting our decorative border around this vest portion before we move on to our sleeves. So go ahead and do 3 more rows of front post and back post double crochets, and I will see you for the border. All right, so you're going to see that I have my front post double and back post double crochet here, my 5 rows there. And now I have the buttonhole edge over here that we're going to be turning to work along. To get started, we're going to chain 2, so 1 and 2, that creates a corner. And across these 5 half double crochets, we're going to place 5 single crochets. So let's place 1 where that last half double crochet was, we're going to go 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to place 2 single crochets over the last double crochet for 54 rows, okay? And so we're going to place a good rule of thumb in crochet is that the height of a double crochet is the same width as 2 single crochets. So this double crochet row, we're going to place 1 and 2. Now we've come to a buttonhole, and for a little bit of a tip so you can get used to where you're going to be placing your single crochets, you're going to place 2 single crochets over your buttonhole double crochet, and then there'll be 8 up to your next buttonhole for a total of 10. So by the time you get up to the last row that you're going to place 2 single crochets over the last double crochet, your stitch marker will be there, and then we will work together for the last 3 rows in the neckline. But let's go ahead and we're going to place 2 single crochets over this buttonhole. So 1 and 2. My hands are a little shaky today. Now we're going to count 3 and 4 over that next double crochet. We're going to go 5 and 6 over the third double crochet, 7, 8 over the fourth double crochet, and then 9 I can count, I swear, I crochet, and 10 over that fifth double crochet. So that's what's going to look like. So go ahead and place your 2 single crochets all the way up to that stitch marker row, and you can set that stitch marker off to the side. Alrighty, so at this point you should have 113 single crochets, counting all the way down to the corner. Alrighty, and so now we have these last 3 rows and then our single crochet row. So we are going to place a single crochet across each of these 3 rows because they're half double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to place a single crochet around our chain 3, and we're going to drop down into the base of this half double crochet for a 4th single crochet there. Now we're at our neckline, and working into, it's kind of hard just because of the color of this Cupid, so I do apologize for that. Working into the top of that chain 3, that beginning chain 3, you're going to start with placing 51 single crochets across the neckline, and you will work into both of the loops of the bottom of your chain. Okay, so I will see you when I've got 51 single crochets across the neckline. I do recommend putting a stitch marker in that first single crochet so that you know where to count back to for the 51. Alright, so I've got my 51 single crochets across my neckline, and now we're going to place 4 single crochets up to our stitch marker, okay? And I will be crocheting over my tail, so 1, 2, 3, and I didn't space those very well. 4. So, and now what you're going to be doing is beginning in this row where the stitch marker is, you're going to place 2 single crochets over the last double crochet for 54 rows, and that should take you to your half double crochet rows, which is then when I will start recording again. I do suggest taking this stitch marker, and once you place that first single crochet over this double crochet, put that stitch marker there. That way you can count back to this stitch marker and know where your stitches are. At this point, with these 4 and these 51 stitches, you should have 172 single crochets at this point, okay? Alrighty, so I've come to my half double crochet rows. We're going to place 5 single crochets up to the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my last one is going to go in the same space as that first half double, or that first, half double crochet. We're going to chain 2 to make a corner, and now we are going to slip stitch into the top of this first half double crochet. You don't have to, but some of you might want to, and so we'll chain 1 just to lift it. Now, beginning in this next stitch, you are going to, so you are going to place 201 single crochets across to the other corner, and then I will help you with the decorative edging. All right, so I've got my 201 single crochets across the bottom edge. We're going to begin working in this chain 2 here. We're going to place a single crochet, a chain, and we're going to go back in with another single crochet, and then we're going to do that again. So single crochet in the chain 2, chain, and single crochet. Now, we are going to be working around the chest of this vest, and we're going to skip this next stitch, and in the following stitch we're going to place a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. Okay, we'll do that one more time together. We're going to skip a stitch, go into the next one with a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. Now you're going to do that a total of 140 more times, and then I will see you at the next corner. All right, so I've come to my other corner, and in this chain 2 space, we're going to place a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. We're going to do that again. Single crochet, chain, and single crochet. Now working along the bottom edge here, we're going to skip this first stitch, and we're going to place a single crochet, a chain, followed by a single crochet, and you are going to do that 101 times, I believe. Let me double check though. Yeah, so do it 100 more times, and then I will help you fasten off. All right, so I've come to the other corner. We are going to slip stitch into the top of that first single crochet. Oop, I dropped my yarn. It always gets me. Pull it nice and tight, and then we're going to fasten off with about 6 inches of tail, like always. Pull that yarn to the front. You will take a darning needle and take that yarn back through the top of that same single crochet that we slip stitched into. And then what I recommend doing is taking your yarn and going around the corner, and then you'll weave it back, and you'll come back through the corner and then through here and over. And so now we'll move on to the sleeves. All right, so we are going to be moving on to the sleeves, and the edge is right here. And so for both sleeves, you are going to attach your yarn using a slip knot. You are going to go ahead and attach it at the second stitch marker from the edge, and we will be working over the shoulder first and then the armpit section second. And so it doesn't really matter which sleeve you start with, they're both going to attach at that second stitch marker and work over the shoulder. So you will go ahead and get your slip knot on your hook, and we will be moving into the sleeves. All right, moving into row 1 of the sleeves, you're going to see that I have my hook in the same space as my stitch marker, my second stitch marker from the edge, and my slip stitch is on the, or slip knot is on the hook, and I'm going to slip stitch through that space where the stitch marker is, okay? I'm going to pull this a little tight because it got loose. and we're going to chain 1 like always to get the row started. Okay, in this space we're going to put a double crochet, the same space that you did your slip stitch. So go ahead and do that. I am somebody who takes my tail and actually crochets through it, and so we're going to do that. All right, so we got a double crochet there. We're going to chain 1 and place a cluster in the chain space for a total of 26 times across the shoulder. Okay, so that is a chain 1 with a cluster in the chain space 25 more times, and I'll see you at the other side. All right, so I've got a double crochet, I've got 26 chain spaces and 26 clusters. So we're going to chain 1. We're going to place a double crochet in the same space where the stitch marker is. And now we're going to be working over the chain 13, okay? So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to yarn over. We're going to go before this first cluster. We're going to yarn over and pull up our loop, yarn over and pull through 2. I call this straddling. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to go after that same cluster. We're going to yarn over and pull up our loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 3. Okay, see how it straddles? So let's do that one more time together. Chain 1, I'm going to yarn over, go before the next cluster, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go after the same cluster, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 3. So go ahead and straddle 7 more clusters from row 28, and I will see you on the other side of the armpit. All right, so you should have 9 straddles across here, and this is what it's going to look like. And to wrap up this row, we are going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of this first double crochet in the row. Okay, we're going to chain and turn our work. All right, so we are moving into row 2, and we are going to place a cluster in this first chain space. Okay. Now we are going to chain 1, and we're going to start by straddling the second straddle here. So we're going to start in this next chain space. We're going to yarn over, go before the cluster, yarn over and pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, going after that same cluster, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 3. So go ahead and chain straddle 6 more times. Alrighty, so I've got my 7 chain clusters here, or chain straddles, and now we're going to chain 1 and cluster in the chain space over the shoulder for a total of 28 times. Okay, so go ahead and chain, cluster in the chain space 27 more times. All right, so we will wrap up this row with a chain 1 and a slip stitch to the top of that first cluster, and then we will chain 1 and turn our work. Okay, let's move into row 3. Alrighty, row 3, we are going to be placing a cluster followed by a chain for a total of 29 times here. Okay, so go ahead and cluster chain 28 more times over the shoulder. Alright, so I've got 29 clusters and 29 chains. We are going to start in this next chain space. We're going to yarn over, go before the cluster, yarn over, pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, we're going to go after that same cluster, yarn over and pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 3, followed by a chain. So do that 4 more times. Alright, so I've got 5 of those straddles with some chains. We are going to cluster in this last chain space, followed by a chain, and we're going to slip stitch to the top of this first cluster. Going gonna chain and turn our work, okay? All right, we're moving into row 4, okay? We are going to cluster in the chain space, followed by a chain for a total of 35 times around, okay? And then you will slip stitch to the top of that first cluster, chain and turn your work, and you are going to have 35 clusters and 35 chains for rows 4 through 9, and I will see you for row 10. All right, we're going to be moving into row 10, and this is going to have a repeat, and the repeat is going to go as follows. So we're going to place a cluster, followed by a chain, a total of 6 times. So 2, that was 1, this is 2. 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we've got 6 clusters and 6 chains, and we're going to wrap up the repeat with a cluster in the next chain space. And you will do this repeat a total of 7 times around. No, 5. Okay, so you do it 5 times around, and what it is just the cluster chain 6 times and then a cluster. So you will start your next repeat without putting a chain, and you'll go right into that next chain space. And then you will slip stitch to the top, chain your work, chain and turn your work. You will do this repeat for rows 10 through row 13, so I will see you for row 14. All right, we're going to be moving into row 14. So for row 14 through 18, your repeat is going to go as follows. We're going to place a cluster, followed by a chain, a total of 5 times. So we've got 1 there, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 clusters and 5 chains here. And now we're going to place 2 clusters. So 1 and 2. Okay. Super simple. We're just dropping a chain space, so cluster chain 5 times, followed by 2 clusters. You'll repeat 4 more times around, slip stitch to the top, chain and turn your work, and I will see you for row 19. You'll go ahead and do this repeat for rows 14 through 18. All right, we are moving on to row 19, and we are going to place a cluster, followed by a chain for a total of 4 times. So this is our second, and third, and fourth. So we've got 4 clusters and 4 chains, and now we're going to cluster 3 times. So this would actually be our 5th cluster, our 6th cluster, and then a 7th cluster, and that's your repeat. You will do that 4 more times around, and then slip stitch to the top of the first cluster, chain and turn your work. So it's going to be cluster chain 4 times and then cluster 3 times. All right, and you will do this for row 19 through 23, so I will see you for row 24. All right, we're moving into row 24, and we are going to be placing a cluster, followed by a chain, a total of 3 times. So let's do that 2 more times together. Number 2, chain, and number 3. Chain. So now we're going to place 4 clusters. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's your repeat, which you will do 4 more times around, and then you will slip stitch and chain to turn your work. So it's cluster chain 3 times and then clusters 4 times. And this is going to be a repeat for rows 24 through 28. So I will see you at row 29. All right, moving on to row 29, we are going to be placing a cluster followed by a chain for 2 times. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to place 5 clusters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's your repeat, and you'll do it 4 more times around, and you'll slip stitch to the top, chain 1, and turn your work. So this row, oh, did I not? Yeah, I did. So we're gonna do cluster chain, and then 5 clusters. That's your repeat, and you're gonna do that for rows 29 through row 33. So I will see you for row 34. All right, we'll be moving into row 34. We are going to be placing 7 clusters. So 1, 2, sorry about that, my yarn is stuck. It happens, y'all already know. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we're going to wrap up this repeat with a chain. So you will have 7 clusters followed by a chain, a total of 5 times around. You will slip stitch to the top and chain 1 and turn your work. And this is going to be your repeat for rows 34 through row 37. So I will see you for row 38. All right, we're moving into row 38. And row 38 through 42 are super simple. You're just going to go around and place 35 clusters. And then you will slip stitch to the top of that first one, chain and turn your work. So 35 clusters are going to go between all these clusters that are existing, and I will see you for row 43. All right, we are moving into row 43. So what we are going to do here is straddle all of these clusters, well, 34 of them. We are not going to straddle this cluster here. So what we're going to do is yarn over, go before the next cluster, yarn over, pull up our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go after that cluster, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 3. We'll do it one more time together. Yarn over, go before the cluster, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go after that same cluster, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 3. So you will straddle like that 32 more times. Then you will slip stitch to the top of this first cluster. You will chain 1. You do not need to turn your work. Row 34 is going to be double crochets all the way around, and then you will slip stitch and chain. You do not need to turn your work at the end of row 44, and I will join you for row 45. All right, we're moving into row 45, and this is going to be the cuff of this sleeve. So we are going to do a front post double crochet around this first stitch that we slip stitched into. So yarn over, go through the side, out the back, and through the other side, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over. The next stitch we're going to do a back post double crochet. So go through the back, through into the side, out the front, and out the back through the other side of that post, yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's your repeat. You're gonna go around, all the way around. You're gonna do that a total of 17 times, so do 16 more by yourself. You will slip stitch to the top of that first front post double crochet, and this is actually gonna be for row 45 through 49. Row 50 is going to be 34 single crochets. You do not need to turn your work at the end of any of the remaining rows, but I will tap in after I'm done with these rows to help you fasten off. Alrighty, so I have completed the cuff. I've got my 5 rows of front post and back post double crochets, and I've got a row of single crochets. And what we're going to do is slip stitch to the first 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to fasten off about a 6-inch tail. You're going to pull that yarn to the front with your hook. Then you'll take a darning needle and you'll go back through the top of that 3rd stitch we slip stitched into, and then you'll take this tail and you'll weave it through the little loops and the single crochets back and forth 3 times like a zigzag, and that will fasten off your cuff. And then you'll do the other side, and you will be attaching it at the 2nd stitch marker from the edge the same way you did this sleeve. And so then we're going to move on to the pockets.